Hi, this is Sonja from My Happy Space. Welcome back at my channel. Today I am going to do a water painting sketch attempt. I try to sometimes do something different in my Bible, not always just printables sticking down or things like that. Now, nothing is wrong with that. I love printables, but I sometimes try to stretch myself a little bit. So sometimes I go on Pinterest or I go on Instagram, and if I see something that inspires me, I save it and then I go back to it and see what inspires me. And I always link it to a passage in the Bible that I'm busy studying at the moment that spoke to me. So I'm reading through Romans at the moment, and I'm at Romans 1 and the famous passage that for I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it's the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew and then to the Gentile. So that is the passage I'm going to look at, and I'm going to attempt to create this picture, which I'm going to put now up on the screen. Obviously, I'm going to try to be inspired by it. Obviously, I'll link the artist down below who it is. So I want to honor her. But yeah, she just made a little sketch, as you can see, exactly how to draw this little poppy that hang. And this poppy that hang almost remind me of sort of downcast and slightly ashamed. And that's why I thought also it might work well, because it says I'm not ashamed of the gospel. So first of all, I'm going to create a little sort of a cluster water smooshy background here with my watercoloring paints, which is my Munye watercoloring set, which is a fairly good quality watercoloring set. You can buy them in these little clusters containers, and then you can buy this separate and put it in. As you can see, I'm running out of space, so I'm just putting them here in between. I might another time get myself one of these little boxes again. So I'm going to put you on fast forward, and then we're going to see if we can put this together. So the first thing I'm going to do is to spray my watercolors just to activate it. But I'm going to choose the green. I'm going to start with that. So I'm just doing the smooshing technique. If you don't know what that is, you just put some watercoloring or gelatos or whatever ink you have, and you just put it on a plastic sheet and you water it nicely, and then you just basically smoosh it on your background, and it just gives a nice organic, just a loose type of background. It's probably one of the easiest and the quickest way to give your page a background. So it looked a little bit more sort of squarey there. It didn't look very organic and loose. So I'm just going in with my water brush, or my paintbrush rather, to create a little bit of more watermarks, because I had it in my idea as it is on the picture, just to create a little bit of a sort of a organic water coloring effect. Mine is much bigger than hers, but as I said, we just use these things to have a jump up point, to have inspiration, and we make it our own. So now I am drawing the flower, and as you can remember on her photo, she sort of had a half circle almost at the bottom as you start with. So I have gently already drew the flower with pencil. Now I'm just going in with a 04 micro pen, black pen, which is a nice pen for your Bible journal because it doesn't bleed through. And it works well on things like watercoloring on top of that. I won't say it works very well with if you put gesso on your page. Not gesso, maybe gesso also. It can sometimes damage your page or your point of your pen. It can damage it. So with watercoloring, that is fairly easy. So as I said, I'm just going in and I'm making these droopy leaves that looks, a bit sad, this little flower, but I like the effect. It almost looks like the wind is blowing it backwards. And you definitely get, I said in the beginning it's a poppy, but I think it's more daisy. You get definitely these daisies, which is, this flowers is almost hanging back the petals because of the lack of maybe of sun or the wind. So now I'm going in with my light pink. I'm making it a little bit lighter with using white, and I'm going to watercolor it in very gently. There is nothing to it. So while you watch me, I'm just quickly going to read you the verse again and tell you about my inspiration about this verse. It's Paul who's speaking, and he's speaking obviously to the church in Rome. I'm obliged both to Greek and non-Greeks, both to wise and the foolish. this is why I'm so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are in Rome. For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it's the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew and then to the Gentiles. For in the gospel the righteousness of God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith, from first to last, just as it is written, the righteous will live by faith. And this is so beautiful. And the gospel is so powerful. We can never underestimate the gospel. Sometimes we want to bring people to the Lord by fancy arguments or by fancy books, or just we think we cannot do it. But if we just bring the gospel to people, and the gospel, one of the things about the gospel is the good news that we are made right with God by faith. It's not about our own efforts or our own good works. It's the good news that we can be made right with God. And this is so powerful. And I think if we just use this a little bit more when we speak to people and just rely on the gospel, that it's powerful, and that we shouldn't be ashamed of it. We shouldn't try to replace it with anything else. It is truly all we need. We just need the power of the gospel, and we shouldn't be ashamed of speaking it. So in the meantime, you've seen me obviously watercoloring the flower. I went in first with a light shade, and then I dried it again. Then I went with darker shading just to create a little bit of dimension. And obviously I went afterwards again with my micro pen just to make it pop out and stand out a little bit. What I've also done is, which was not on camera, I went in with a different color in my background. I also add blue in between. Obviously, in between the two layers, I just made sure it's dry. And also, I've done the black paint splatters, which you did see me do on camera. I just want to sort of point that out again. And I love the black splatters. That just brings everything together. Otherwise, I think it would have been a very sort of one-dimensional piece. Or yeah, it just brings, splatters always brings liveliness to me, to a page. So the other thing I'm doing now, I'm using this illustrated 5 stamp set, which my friend Lisa from Just Stitch, she sent it to me, and I love the stamp set. And I am going to stamp my title, which is I Am Not Ashamed. So it worked out nice. I've tried to sort of space it correctly. It's a bit wonky, but never mind. And in the meantime, you see me put all these little letters in the bowl so I don't lose it, because yeah, it will be such a sad case if I lose that. So yeah, that's just my way of keeping everything together. And then when I have my time, I go and put it back into the sheet and make sure all the letters are at the right place. So obviously I'm just marking my verse, which is Romans 1 verse 16, and I'm just going to date stamp it. I was thinking of putting stamping the date also, but I've just thought I'm going to use my little date stamp. Okay, I love how that turned out. Really simple. I mean, anybody can do that. Love the background. I'm glad I brought the blues in. The flower and the stamping went well. I would have liked to have a capital I, but I don't. So yeah, it's a bit skew, but I think it all works together with the charm of the page. So yeah, I'll kind of encourage you to do something like this. Go on Pinterest, see if you can find something interesting, or on Instagram. As I said, I will leave the artist down here below to give her honor and credit. And thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, remember to like it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. And I'm speaking to you, God willing, very soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye.